The annals of human history are written in the blood of conquerors and the dust of fallen empires. But buried within the most ancient of scrolls, there exists a figure who defies the very laws of time and lineage. Imagine a world 4 millennia ago, a landscape of shifting sands and emerging city-states, where the names of kings were etched into stone to preserve their legacy. Yet, amidst the genealogies of patriarchs and the chronicles of wars, one man emerges from the silence with no recorded origin. He has no father, no mother, and no recorded birth. He steps out of the mists of the Valley of Shaveh, not with an army, but with a mystery that has haunted theologians and seekers for thousands of years. His name is Melchizedek. To the ancient world, he was the king of Salem and the priest of the Most High God. But to us, he represents the greatest enigma of the biblical era. While every other figure in the scriptures is meticulously tracked through their ancestors and descendants, Melchizedek stands alone, a vertical interruption in a horizontal history. He appears at a pivotal moment, just as the foundations of faith are being laid by Abraham, the father of nations. But who was this man that even Abraham, a friend of the divine, felt compelled to honor? As we begin our journey into the shadows of Salem, we must prepare to encounter a being who exists outside the boundaries of the known world. This is not just a study of a king, it is an investigation into a celestial order that predates the stars themselves. Prepare to peel back the first veil of the Melchizedek mystery.
To truly grasp the weight of this mystery, we must transport ourselves to the rugged terrain of the ancient Near East, shortly after the rescue of Lot. Abraham had just led a daring midnight raid, defeating a coalition of 4 powerful Eastern kings who had terrorized the region. He was returning as a weary victor, his men laden with the spoils of war. As the dust of his caravan settled in the Valley of Shaveh, known also as the King's Dale, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. The tension of battle was replaced by a profound, heavy silence. Out from the fortress of Salem stepped a figure of such immense gravitas that the soldiers of Abraham halted in their tracks. This was Melchizedek. He did not come to demand tribute or to challenge Abraham's growing power. Instead, he brought forth 2 simple elements: bread and wine. In the ancient world, these were symbols of hospitality, but in the hands of this mysterious king, they were a cosmic foreshadowing. As he offered the elements, Melchizedek uttered a blessing that vibrated with divine authority, invoking El Elyon, the God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. This was a radical revelation. Before the tabernacle was built, before the law was given on Sinai, and before the tribe of Levi was ever born, here was a functioning priesthood and a sanctuary of peace. Abraham, a man who had directly heard the voice of God, recognized a spiritual weight in Melchizedek that exceeded his own. In a stunning act of humility that would define biblical economics forever, the patriarch took 1/10 of all his spoils and placed it in the hands of this stranger. The father of nations became a servant to the King of Peace.
After that singular, breathtaking encounter in the Valley of Shaveh, Melchizedek vanishes as abruptly as he arrived. For nearly 1,000 years, his name is never mentioned again. Generation after generation of Israelites lived and died under the shadow of the law, looking only to the sons of Aaron for their spiritual connection to the divine. The priesthood of blood and sacrifice became the only reality they knew. Yet, beneath the surface of the religious establishment, a hidden stream of ancient authority continued to flow. It wasn't until the reign of King David, the shepherd warrior who captured the very city Melchizedek once ruled, that the silence was finally shattered by a divine lightning bolt of revelation. In the 110th Psalm, David, under the heavy mantle of prophetic inspiration, records a decree from the Creator that would rewrite the destiny of the world. He writes, "The Lord has sworn and will not change his mind. You are a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek." This was a theological explosion. It meant that there was a priesthood superior to the one currently standing in the temple. It was a priesthood not defined by dying men or genealogical records, but by the power of an indestructible life. This order of Melchizedek represented a royal priesthood, a fusion of the throne and the altar that the law of Moses strictly forbade. David saw a future king-priest who would bridge the gap between the earthly and the eternal. As the scrolls were copied and passed down, the mystery deepened. Why would the Almighty look back to an obscure figure from Abraham's day to define the future Savior? The answer lay in the very nature of Melchizedek's existence, a reign of peace that knew no end.
As the centuries rolled into the era of the Second Temple, the enigma of Melchizedek became the central focus of intense debate among the sages and mystics of Israel. If this man truly had no beginning and no end, then who or what was he? One prevailing theory, preserved in the ancient Aramaic Targums and Jewish Midrash, suggests a profound historical link. They argued that Melchizedek was none other than Shem, the son of Noah. According to this tradition, Shem, having survived the cataclysm of the Great Flood, lived for 500 years, overlapping with the life of Abraham. In this view, Shem was the last of the antediluvian patriarchs, handing over the keys of divine authority to the next generation of the faithful. It paints a picture of a living bridge between the world that was and the world that is. However, another perspective exists, one that is far more mysterious and supernatural in its implications. In the scrolls discovered near the Dead Sea, and later in the New Testament book of Hebrews, Melchizedek is described in terms that transcend human biology. He is called made like the Son of God, a being who remains a priest perpetually. This has led many to conclude that the encounter in the King's Dale was actually a theophany, a pre-incarnate appearance of the Messiah himself. Under this lens, the bread and wine offered to Abraham were not mere refreshments, but a celestial communion, a signature of the Christ appearing in the heart of history long before the stable in Bethlehem. Whether a survivor of the old world or a visitor from the heavenly realm, Melchizedek represents a reality that refuses to be contained by human categories. He is the guardian of a sacred flame that burns outside the walls of organized religion, reminding every generation that the Most High is not restricted by the structures of men.
The mystery of Melchizedek is not merely a relic of ancient literature, it is a profound echo that resonates through the corridors of time into our modern age. Why does this Shadow King continue to captivate the human imagination? It is because he represents the hidden stream of the divine, the undeniable truth that light exists even in the places we have forgotten to look. Melchizedek stands as a sentinel at the crossroads of history, proving that the Creator has always had witnesses who operate beyond our limited understanding, outside our rigid systems, and above our earthly borders. He is the archetype of the perfect ruler, a leader who does not govern through the sword of conquest, but through the dual scepters of absolute righteousness and eternal peace. As we look back at the Valley of Shaveh through the lens of the 21st century, we realize that the King of Salem is a mirror. He reflects our own deep-seated longing for a leadership that is untainted by corruption and a priesthood that is unburdened by human ego. He reminds us that there is a higher order watching over the chaos of our unfolding human story, an order that is anchored in the heavens. Whether you view him as a historical patriarch, a celestial messenger, or a pre-incarnate king, the message remains the same. The most powerful forces in our universe are often the ones that move in silence. The mystery of the king without a beginning and the priest without an end beckons us to look higher, inviting us to find our own place within that eternal order. The mists of Salem may never fully part, but for those who seek the deeper truths, the light of Melchizedek continues to shine, steady and unwavering
across the horizon of eternity.